For more on the DOGE's efforts, let's bring in Texas Congressman and House DOGE Caucus co-chair Pete Sessions. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. Just recapping what Lucas had reported right there. The court system has allowed DOGE to access Labor Department, not Treasury. Court cases still continue. The argument against them is basically is you have this international businessman who has plenty of conflicts of interest, shouldn't have access to this type of sensitive information. Should he?
Really, the bottom line is the President of the United States, duly elected across the country in a positive fashion, promised on the campaign trail that we would get to the bottom of not only finding the spending that was taking place, but those things that were done against the best interests of the American people. You can say DOGE, you can say Elon Musk with every one of these employees, but the bottom line is that these are professionals that are gaining information that is important to not only Congress, but important to the administration. It is not releasing data and information. It is probably finding out where the money went. And I think that that's the part of government that I am personally responsible for, government oversight. And I will tell you, the president is doing the right thing. The court system is playing its hand, but you will see soon that the data and information which is gleaned will help America to understand the problems that we have with not just excessive government, but runaway government tactics that were done by the Democratic Party.
And Democrats do have some members on the DOGE caucus, though it appears you're losing one. Here's one congressional perspective on leaving the DOGE caucus.
Fundamentally, I don't see how we can actually do this work when Elon Musk is blowing things up. It's like trying to replace your roof when someone's throwing dynamite through the window into your living room. It's just not possible. So I'm leaving the DOGE caucus.
Do you expect there'll be more Democratic defectors, Congressman?
You know, I suspect that people who came in just for the viewpoint to see what they would see find themselves in a circumstance when confronted with the information, as we learned yesterday, $250 million given to George Soros for George Soros to use overseas, who is a non-government entity. And we gave that money to George Soros for his political viewpoints. It's these kinds of things that will be very uncomfortable for Democrats. And I would expect that most of them will not only welcome the opportunity to vet this, and then the question is, what are we going to do with it? So I'm not really worried about that. They, I believe, have come for the right reason. There will always be those that oppose what we're doing because they were in favor of the $37 trillion deficit the country has today.
Mm-hmm. Congressman, do you think that DOGE is going to take a look at legislative branch spending? You know, that building behind me has got some pretty nice office space, big staffs. I mean, is this a whole approach? Is Congress going to subject itself to DOGE?
Well, one could certainly ask that question. We are always at a push for determining what we're going to do. And by and large, that is driven by the Speaker or the Senate Majority Leader. As you know, we had the effort by 9/11 committee that was very expensive. We've had other very expensive investigations. And so, sure, I think that there would be some look at that, at least to determine the cost. But when you look at freedom of government, which is what we represent the elected people, the voices of people, and then not just the right or wrong, but how things are accomplished. I'm very proud of the DOGE caucus. I'm proud of our Democrats who are on there. They will bring things that don't work in necessarily their communities also. So no one likes a government that does not work right, and that's what we're committed to.
You know, part of the issue with DOGE, of course, is getting rid of some of these government departments that were included and passed by federal law. The courts may have issue with that. Do you think that eliminating USAID, CFPB, the Department of Education, all of that is going to have to be part of a congressional effort, this big bill that you're talking about? And then separately, do you think that the big bill that you're discussing can get through with Republican-only votes?
Well, these are all questions that will all be on a balance of not only how well it's done, but the data and information that is gleaned, which will support the American people to say they understand why. USAID needs to be looked at and revamped. And I'm sure a huge part of the spending that takes place was not in the Americans' best interest, but a good bit of it is. And I hope that that does not just survive, but is reformed properly. So the big bill, is it going to pass? Boy, it's always up for speculation. And right now, we're nearing a time where we've got to make real decisions.
Congressman Pete Sessions, co-chair of the DOGE caucus up on the Hill. Congressman, thanks for your time this afternoon. Really appreciate it.
You betcha.